Welcome to The Explainer. We usually talk about these huge, sweeping historical events. Well, today, we're doing something a little different. We're zooming way in to unpack one single night, a first date from 1941, to see what it can tell us about love, connection, and a world on the very brink of change.
Okay, so the whole story really just explodes right out of the gate with this line. Just imagine for a second. You're on a first date, and the person across from you says this: "I have a feeling about you, like maybe I've been looking for you without knowing it." Right away, you know this isn't just a casual hangout. The stakes feel incredibly high from the jump.
But to really get why that night was so important, we got to paint a picture of the world they were living in. So let's set the stage for Betty and Fred, because trust me, the rules for dating were completely different back then.
All right, so who are we talking about? Let's meet the key players. On one side, you've got Betty Carringer. She's 21, a teacher, born and raised in San Diego. And then you have Fred Seaver. He's a salesman who just moved all the way across the country from Massachusetts. They're basically strangers, set up by a friend, walking into this thing completely cold. And the timing here? Oh, it is everything. We're talking Saturday, March 29, 1941. War is just tearing Europe apart, and even though America isn't officially in it yet, you could feel that tension in the air. That backdrop makes a simple act like a first date feel both totally normal and unbelievably precious. So check out the plan for the night. This was not some casual, hey, want to grab a drink text? No way. This was a whole production, super structured, planned from the second he picked her up at 6, right down to that very firm 11 p.m. curfew. A clear signal that mom and dad were still in charge.
And before any of that could happen, Fred had to face what was maybe the biggest challenge of any 1940s date, passing the parent test.
And I'm not talking about a quick wave at the door. Oh no. Fred walks into the living room, and it's basically a tribunal. You've got Dad, Lyle, Mom, Emily, and even Grandma Georgiana all lined up, ready to give him the once-over.
And what looked like just a casual chat, it was a full-on, 3-part exam. He had to prove he was a good provider for Dad, show he was a gentleman for Mom, and then, this is the pro move, he charms Grandma by complimenting her city. Genius, right? He totally aced it.
And the verdict comes in from Betty's dad with this one simple rule. It's like, okay, you passed, but don't forget who's in charge. The ground rules for the night are officially set.
All right, so he survived the family gauntlet. Fred and Betty are finally out of the house, finally alone, and it's over dinner at a place called Rudford's, where things start to shift from, a formal interview to a real connection.
And as they're eating, they start to realize just how different they are on paper. He's this analytical guy, she's more intuitive. He's one of 7 kids from back east, she's a California-born only child. But instead of being a problem, all these differences just made them more interested in each other. They were discovering their values were totally in sync.
Yeah, they didn't waste time on the weather. They got real pretty fast. They started sharing stories about what really mattered to them. Like Betty here, she opens up about teaching, about how much she pours into her students. It's a really vulnerable moment.
And then Fred, maybe feeling a little bold, asks a question that he immediately thinks was a huge mistake. Do you want children someday? Talk about forward for a first date. But that question, as risky as it felt, really showed his hand. He wasn't just thinking about tonight. He was already wondering about a future.
So they've built this amazing foundation over dinner, and now the next phase of the date begins, the movies. And this is so interesting because a dark movie theater, well, it's a public place, but it lets you have this quiet, private connection.
So they head to the North Park Theater, which was this gorgeous Art Deco palace. And get this, just to put you right there in 1941, a movie ticket was 35 cents. Can you even imagine?
And the movie they saw, it couldn't have been more perfect. The Philadelphia Story. You've got this all-star cast, it's smart, it's funny, and most importantly, it's a movie all about second chances and figuring out who you really are.
Just think about that for a second. The whole message of the movie is don't make up your mind about people too quickly. And that is exactly what they were doing in that very moment. It's like the movie was narrating their date.
And then, in the dark, with the movie playing, comes this pivotal moment. It's so simple, so classic, but it changes everything. Fred reaches over and takes Betty's hand. It's this quiet signal, right? All the talking is done, and now it's just this connection. And she lets him.
Okay, so all of this,
The family interview, the dinner, the movie, holding hands. It's all been leading up to this. The final test of the night. The goodnight on the front porch.
So they get back to her house. The porch light is on. You can just imagine her dad is probably peeking through the curtains, and Fred kisses her goodnight. And when he asks her if it was all right, she whispers back that it was more than all right.
So, wow, what a first date, right? It feels like something out of a movie. Every single part of it just clicks. But the big question is, was it just one perfect night, or was it the start of something real?
Oh, it was the start of something real, all right? That one night wasn't just a great date. It was the first page of their entire life story. They got married about 16 months later, stayed together for 41 years, raised a family. All of it, every bit of it, started on this one night.
And I think that's the real power of their story. In a world that felt like it was about to fall apart with war on the horizon, these small personal moments of connection, they weren't just nice, they were essential. This date was their own little act of defiance, of hope.
And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What are the small moments happening in our own lives right now? A conversation, a first date, a simple gesture that we'll look back on one day and realize that was the start of everything.